Scholarship Fund helps you prepare, plan, and pay for your kids' college education. Learn more at hsf.net. Brought to you by the Hispanic Scholarship Fund and the Ad Council.
Estás escuchando KBBF Radio Colectiva, gente de la calle, tejiendo voces para una voz, la voz de nuestra comunidad.
What up, y'all? This is DJ Broken Record. Make sure to tune in to the Broken Record Radio Show here on KBBF 89.1 FM in the North Bay every Monday night at 9 p.m. to hear dance music from all over the world. News, current events, interviews, and exclusive tracks and mixes from producers and DJs from around the globe. Broken Record Radio Show, Monday nights at 9 on KBBF 89.1 FM.
Enriquezca su acervo cultural. Escuche KBBF, la voz de la comunidad.
All right, hello everybody. You are listening to The Queer Life on KBBF 89.1, LGBT news, modern perspectives, roundtable discussion, and interviews. I am your host, Kaya Kramer, and I'm with my co-host, as always, Mandy Howard.
As always, I'm super happy to be here.
And we have, this is, sort of Happy New Year to everybody out there. It is Friday, January 2nd, 2015. So everybody get used to writing 15 on everything now.
Have you already messed that up?
No, not yet, but I'm pretty sure I will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Take some getting used to.
And just to let y'all know, the Queer Life Radio Show is streamed simultaneously on thequeerlife.org. And you can watch it on there. If you have the ability to watch YouTube, you can watch The Queer Life on there. Anytime during the show, you can tweet us at The Queer Life, or you can give us a call, 707-545-0318. and rings inside of the studio here. And we'd always love to hear your input and to be part of the roundtable discussion. So that's pretty important. Also, feel free to like us on Facebook, facebook.com/thequeerlife. We post up a lot of queer news out there just regularly because Facebook limits the feed now. You will not see a ton of just blast stuff. Facebook kind of fixes that for you. Bad for us, good for you. Also, tweet us at The Queer Life. If you go to youtube.com/user/thequeerliferadio, you can just subscribe to the YouTube channel itself, and you can get all the episodes on there. But if you just want to check out the episodes, go to thequeerlife.org. We also have a newsletter. Go to thequeerlife.org and sign up for the newsletter. It's a little pop-up button thing. And that is all there. And if you have any questions for us, you want to send us a private, discreet email, whether you approve of us or disapprove of us, go to thequeerlife.org/contact. And we are a KBBF program, so it's all under support from KBBF in Santa Rosa. And so if you like this programming or any other programming on this radio station, go to kbbf-fm.org and give a little donation. Anything helps. It's a volunteer-run organization and all based upon donations. So I think I got it all out of the way, didn't I?
Pretty much.
Okay, yeah. Oh, disclaimer.
Yeah, go ahead.
We are by no means whatsoever at all, Mandy or I. I'm just speaking for Mandy and I. Neither of us are mental health professionals. We're not doctors. We're not lawyers. We're not psychiatrists. We're not your best friend.
Not yet.
Not. Oh, well, yeah. This is
To all of those.
Yes.
To all of those. Not yet.
Not yet.
I don't know which one,
Yeah.
but not yet.
But okay, without much further ado here, I want to just kind of like dive into the episode for tonight. We have a little bit serious of an episode. Oh, just real quick. The music that we played at the beginning of this episode is from Yui Carlberg, a young UK trans woman, and she's half Thai, just like myself.
Oh, connection.
Yeah, pretty rad. She's my half Thai sister, and she's an extremely talented musician, electro pop. And I had a chance to interview her within the last couple of weeks here while she was in the States, as they say. And so you'll be hearing more from her over the next couple of weeks. We'll be playing some of her music, which we have permission to play. And you will be hearing her interview coming up. So that'll be a treat. We're trying to promote more queer artists. So if any of you out there are queer artists yourselves, feel free to contact us, thequeerlife.org/contact. And we'd love to feature some of your stuff, even if you think you're grassroots or what have you. Okay, on to tonight's episode. This is going to be a fairly serious episode. I mean, we talk about serious subjects all the time. But
Should we give a trigger warning
yes,
and talk about the hotline before we proceed?
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah.
Shoot, maybe we should have been giving trigger warnings in the past too.
on some, well, we have
Yeah.
on some of the stuff we've done, but we definitely need to do one today.
Right. So, trigger warning.
What is a trigger warning?
So a trigger warning is we're going to talk about particularly sensitive subjects around death, around suicide, and around acceptance and discrimination and abuse. Both emotional and physical. And so if anything that if any one of those subjects really bothers you or whatever, we don't want this show to be something to bring you down. This show is meant to inform the masses what is happening. But if this is something you just simply can't hear right now, it's like, I won't judge you. Just turn the radio off. Take assessment. Call a friend. If you don't listen to our show, call a friend. Call a friend. Facebook message, tweet, text. Whatever you need to do, just that's really, really important. We always advocate getting support, and so I'm going to give you the number for support if you absolutely need support right now. And so the Trans Lifeline, maybe I'm gonna pull up the suicide hotline as well, the standard one.
Well, what I was going to say while you're doing that is the Trans Hotline is also currently selling T-shirts to help raise more and more money for their cause and what they're doing.
Right. And they met their goal.
They met their goal, but the T-shirts are still available on their site. So
Yeah. So and just what's a little bit of background on the Trans Suicide Hotline?
the only thing I know about it right now off the top of my head is that it's basically what makes it unique is that it's staffed by trans men and women. In other words, if you're a trans person, you call into a suicide hotline, just a random one, you're not really going to get somebody who understands your issues and understands what we go through. And what we go through is so completely unique that talking to somebody, even if they're used to talking to an individual who is suicidal, they're not really going to know how to talk to you because the issues that we deal with are completely unique and exist in no other minority group. So it really does help to have another trans person on the other end of that phone to talk to. So
Absolutely does, and that goes for any minority group or what have you. So you have somebody that's going to understand where you're coming from. It might be the thing that you need to get through whatever it is you're going through. The Trans Lifeline is their website is translifeline.org. Trans Lifeline is a nonprofit dedicated to the well-being of transgender people. They run a hotline staffed by transgender people for transgender people. Trans Lifeline volunteers are ready to respond to whatever support needs members of our community might have. This is a free helpline run by volunteers and supported by the community. And they have very, very kind of broad hours right now. They've so for an organization that just started up, that's really impressive.
yeah, no, I mean they're just getting started, and hopefully they'll be around for as long as they're needed.
Yeah,
right.
And so I'm gonna give the number for the Trans Lifeline. That's 877-565-8860. Again, if you need the trans, basically suicide lifeline, 877-565-8860. If you're in Canada, that number is 877-330-6366. And they also have a UK number. UK number here. I do not have it in front of me. Anyway,
we can find it during the break.
Oh wait, the UK number is 08457 909090. I'm not sure how to say that rhythm wise.
where the dashes are?
Yeah. So but also too, if you're like, wait, I'm not trans, but I need somebody to talk to, there's many standardized suicide lifelines out there.
There's a ton of them.
The crisis line from San Francisco, which I just pulled up right here. If you're outside of San Francisco, 1-800-273-TALK. That's 8255. So 1-800-273-8255. And they're local, so that might be a better way to connect and feel like you're not talking to somebody across state borders or whatever. So we just want to kind of preface by just giving these resources out there because not to bring everything down, not that things are bad all the time, but things do get bad, and it's just being real and acknowledging, okay, things are bad. What are my resources?
Well, it's better than us ignoring the fact that these are issues, and it's better that we give out that information because somebody may need it, and we could tell ourselves that maybe we shouldn't give it out this time because we don't want to bring anybody down. But at the same time, somebody who is listening, who is down already, hears that and they go, you know what, there's a place I can go to. There's somebody that I can talk to. There are options. Yeah. And that's what we're doing, providing options.
Yeah. And this is sort of, well, I mean, this all of this prefacing here has really come as a result of one of many deaths recently.
Yeah, and, one particular one that we're going to talk about here in a little bit.
Yeah. The statistic for trans suicide is at the very least in the United States, nationally speaking, 40%, or attempted suicide rather.
Mm-hmm. Suicidal thoughts in the trans community in the U.S. is somewhere up in the 80 percentile.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, and even in Sonoma County, and within our own group, Transgender North Bay, which is every second and fourth Tuesday, or first and third Tuesday.
For second and fourth Tuesday.
All right, yeah, second and fourth Tuesday. At 6 to 8 p.m. at Positive Images in Santa Rosa. Which is co-facilitated by Rachel and Jackie.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And their statistic they pull from just the polls that have been done within the group, which ranges of like around 135 trans people who don't necessarily all attend, but
come and gone.
Yeah. What were they saying? They were saying it was like 70 or 80% attempted suicide.
Yeah, the local numbers within the people that we know or know by proxy is well over 50%, probably closer to 70 or 80.
That's disturbing.
Mm-hmm.
Let's and a lot I've heard from a lot of cisgender people, and even other trans people. It's like, well, why is it so high? Why are people crying about stuff? People need to stop being so sensitive.
Yeah, stop being so sensitive. Get over it and move on, or you do you. I mean, they're all ridiculous comments to people who are suffering from depression. I mean, yeah, sometimes the depression is chemical, and I'm sure a lot of it is adding to that. But at the same time, when you're transgender, you're growing up your entire life with your brain scrambled pretty much. I mean, you don't know what's going on with your own body, with yourself, and with your own mind. And are you sick? Are you perverted? You don't even know.
Right.
And so just by the time you get to the point to where you start telling people that you're a transgender woman or you're a transgender man, by the time you've already gotten there, you've already dealt with so much. You've already let so much go. You've already done you. You try to do the you that people want to see.
Yeah.
And when you bring out the person that you are, people just tell you to get over it already and not worry about what other people tell you to do or say about you. But at the same time, they're not at the end of those comments that people are making to you on a daily basis, the looks that people are giving on a daily basis, the fact that, you lose friends and family left and right. They get sent to conversion therapy.
Gosh.
All these, and we're going to talk more about that, but there's tons and tons of issues aside from just regular life on top of all that.
Yeah, there's a lot of people say, it's like, oh, well, trans people are mentally ill. It's like, yes, we're just like any other person. So, a lot of us have mental illness. A lot of cis people have mental illness. And some of it's
we're not mentally ill because we're trans. We're mentally ill, a lot of us, in the sense that we're depressed.
Yeah.
And some of that's not because we are trans, but because of the way we were treated for being so.
Yeah. Much like trauma victims.
Mm-hmm.
So not to necessarily quote unquote play the victim, but just to educate. We're not. Mandy and I, we don't come onto this radio show just to cry about it all night long.
Although we have cried.
We have cried on the show. We might cry again tonight. We got some pretty heavy stuff, which is why we're doing like a 30-minute prelude.
We're doing a 30-minute preamble. Was that the better term?
Yes, preamble. Yeah. Okay.
I learned that in schools today.
Yeah.
No.
No. Okay, there we go. There's
our one joke. We get it out. Okay. So we can be a little lighthearted right now, but later it's gonna be pretty hard.
Might be some tears here in the KBBF studio here in Santa Rosa, California. 6:20 p.m. Friday the 2nd. And so if you're just tuning in right now, you are listening to the Queer Life Radio Show. LGBT news, modern perspectives, roundtable discussions, and interviews. I am your host, Kaya Kramer. I'm joined, as always, with my co-host, Mandy Howards.
It's like I never leave.
I know, right? You just keep trying to get away, and we pull you right back in.
Every time.
Every time. And tonight, we are not doing an interview. Well, not that we don't have interviews. Which I got like 5 lined up, but
tonight we want to focus on something that's really important always, but something that's really relevant at the moment.
Absolutely. And if you want to check out the entirety of this show, just go to thequeerlife.org. All the links to YouTube, all the Facebook, Twitter, blah blah. That's all on there too. And so. Gosh, Leelah Alcorn.
Who is going to be kind of the focus of our the rest of our talking tonight?
Yeah,
among a few other things.
And in a nutshell, there's a recent trans suicide. Young trans woman, 17 years old, in Ohio. Her name, Leelah Alcorn. And, instead of doing the normal stuff that we do every episode and talking with other people, we felt it really important to highlight what's going on because you may have seen it. It's certainly been in Huffington Post. It's been on CNN.
It's been on HuffPost, CNN. It's been all over the place, and it's only spreading at the moment because of the movement that's kind of slowly gathering behind it.
Right.
I mean, there's so many aspects of it. We're going to go over the actual suicide note itself, and we're going to go over the reaction that people have had, including their family, Leelah's school, her school, even just in general, just our own reactions. And then we'll also eventually have something else that we've played before on the show, but I think that is really relevant at this moment. So,
yeah. So we'll be reading that notes.
Kaya will be reading the note.
Yeah, I'll try to read the notes
because Mandy will cry.
Yeah, and if you hear any like laughing or whatever, it's nervous
laughter. We're trying to not break down in tears.
Yeah, and just try to report some news here for you. But so Leelah, she was out there in Ohio, 17 years old, still living with her parents, homeschooled, had her phone, internet, and kind of all forms of communication taken away. She was going to public school, but I'm not sure the exact situation, but she was brought into homeschooling, so separated away from at least her close friends, whom.
And I believe most of that was done post coming out to her family.
Yeah. And so she comes out to her family, and they say to her, "This is a phase. You're going to grow out of it. God made you perfect just the way you are."
Yeah, and they basically are doing the whole religious thing where they're basing everything they're thinking about their daughter and telling her that she's not who she believes herself to be or feels herself to be or knows herself to be, and that they know better, and this omnipotent God who will hate you otherwise knows better, right? And they're not looking... I mean, obviously, it doesn't sound like they got a whole lot of time to even deal with it, really. But at the same time, the way they reacted was completely out of pocket. I mean, yeah, it's very despicable.
I mean, probably one of the points that just like really kills me about this story is that she was sent to reparative therapy, also known as
conversion therapy. Yeah.
And
I think we had talked about that before.
Yeah.
And we also have an interview coming up in a week or two that will touch on conversion therapy as well.
Yeah.
But that's for another week.
So Wikipedia says conversion therapy, also known as reparative therapy, is a range of treatments that aim to change sexual orientation from homosexual to heterosexual. Such treatments have been criticized for being pseudoscientific. Conversion therapy has been a source of controversy in the United States and other countries. The American Psychiatric Association has condemned psychiatric treatments such as reparative or conversion therapy, which is based upon the assumption that homosexuality per se is a mental disorder, or based upon the a priori assumption that the patient should change his or her homosexual orientation. It states that ethical practitioners refrain from attempts to change individuals' sexual orientation. It also states that political and moral debates over the integration of gays and lesbians in the mainstream of American society have obscured scientific data about changing sexual orientation by calling into question the motives and even the character of individuals on both sides of the issue. And this, while this article here is talking about its conversion therapy being for homosexual sexual orientation.
Yeah, well, let me point out that a lot of the conversion therapy that's being done out there is not being done by any kind of a licensed therapist or doctor. Most of it's being done by individuals who claim to have converted themselves from being homosexual to heterosexual, or at least living. The phraseology they use is they live a heterosexual lifestyle, which kind of almost insinuates that they're still feeling homosexual or have homosexual thoughts, but they've repaired themselves and that they can now live a heterosexual lifestyle. And a majority of them have no training of any kind in anything. There are therapists out there who do conversion therapy, but there are not very many, because most therapists, anyone who calls themselves or considers themselves to be a good therapist would know that it's complete bull.
Right. Okay, so we're going to take a little momentary break here to play some words from our sponsors here. If you're just tuning in now, you're listening to the Queer Life Radio Show, LGBT news, modern perspectives, roundtable discussions, and interviews. I'm the host, Kaya Kramer. I'm joined with my co-host, Mandy Howard. And if you have any questions for us at any point during the show, feel free to give us a call, 707-545-0318. That number again, 707-545-0318. If you want to watch the show live on the internet and you don't get a good radio reception where you're at, go to thequeerlife.org and just hit play. It's all right on there. Again, you're listening to the Queer Life Radio Show on KBBF 89.1.
El sol brilla y el aire fluye con buena información a través de la frecuencia modulada de KBBF 89.1.
Las expresiones y comentarios no representan la ideología de KBBF ni la mesa directiva, sino que es la responsabilidad de sus actores.
KBBF 89.1 FM, conquistando tu corazón.
All right. Hello, everybody. You're listening to the Queer Life Radio Show, LGBT news, modern perspectives, roundtable discussions, and interviews on KBBF 89.1. I'm your host, Kai Kramer, with my co-host, Mandy Howards. And we are about to dive into some heavy stuff. Before we do, I want to talk about the Queer Life for a moment on the queerlife.org. We've got the archives for the Queer Life Radio episodes, but we also have our podcast, part of the Queer Life family. And Lasha Guita, has her podcast, Let's Be Honest, from a lesbian woman. And so she has, she's got a great radio voice. So.
Oh, I just got it. No.
I love it. And also our Oliver from our Minnesota correspondence.
Wait, we have correspondence?
Now we do.
Very nice.
Trans Atheist Pod with Maddie Love. And so I'm actually going to be speaking with her. I'm going to be interviewing on her radio show podcast. So that'll be cool. And you'll be able to listen to that on thequeerlife.org. Before we kind of dive into the rest of the stuff here, we're going to be talking about Leelah Alcorn during this episode here. But I want to play a little broadcast from Trans Atheist Pod. I got a little excerpt for you. And if you like Trans Atheist Pod, you can go to thequeerlife.org and click on Trans Atheist Pod up at the top. You can subscribe to that on iTunes. It is a podcast. The Queer Life is not quite yet a podcast because right now we're an internet stream and a radio show, which is already a lot of work.
Yeah.
So that'll be there. So check out Trans Atheist Pod right now here, and we will. I hope you enjoy a little bit here. And if you have any questions for us at any point during the Trans Atheist Pod here, give us a call 707-545-0318. All right, check it out.
Here. But I'm a wimp and it snowed.
Not about being a wimp.
So I'm happy to have the opportunity to have a conversation with some of the crew from Grease Rag in the home of Ginny, one of the Grease Rag crew. Thank you, Ginny, for allowing us to use your house.
You betcha.
And for the tea and the heat.
And the heat.
For anybody that is just listening, like if they hear the word Grease Rag, what should come to mind?
So when I think of Grease Rag, I think of the community around it. I think of the safe, inclusive spaces that whether it's rides that you can go to, the open shop nights where you can learn to work on your bike, whether it is going to any of the events or any of those smaller sponsored stuff that Grease Rag just lets us know about. It shows that there's going to be a place where I feel comfortable. And I think that I think it's a community. I think that's a really great way to state it because there's so many different things that are going on with it.
I agree with Ginny. I think that the best way to describe Grease Rag is as a community, and that's how I think of it as my community. What happens with Grease Rag is this idea of a safer space, right? And this inclusivity. And what that means is not that you come into a space and you are gender variant or you're trans or, whatever it is that you feel you need to do, that you don't come into the space and we don't just tolerate it. There's not this concept of tolerance, but rather a concept in which we're actively working to make people comfortable and to be curious and joyful and accepting of everyone who walks in. And so it's a space of intentionality that's really important. It's different than a women's biking group because we sort of reach out to other folks who are marginalized in the biking community. So not just women, but people who are trans and femme who also obviously need a place to learn how to ride and get their roots deeper and just have a good time, because we have a really, really fun time. So that's what Grease Drag is to me, I guess. Miss Brenda?
I would just like to add the fact that it's like a giant group hug.
Right. It is.
It is. And
It
that's what it's
totally is.
supposed to be.
Yeah.
A really empowering, a really empowering group hug.
Yeah. And there's a lack of competitiveness, too, which I think is really important to me.
There are specific events where we invite the allies to come, but the open shops are not. The open shops are just women, trans, femme. We're pretty clear with each event that we organize, and with even on our Facebook page, it's open now to the cisgender too, which I think it's a good thing in creating more education for people that don't necessarily know where or how to ask questions of this nature. So, but it's pretty clear when allies are welcome and when they're not.
So can you explain how to encourage and empower women, trans, and femme cyclists?
We go around in the group and everybody's an individual. It is if you would like to share your name, share your gender pronouns that you prefer, then we have a group question. One was, how do you take your pancakes? So it's fun. And every Grease Rag event, those 3 questions are asked. And so you get to know all of these individual humans who are acknowledged and recognized and respected with the words that they prefer to use. And so I think that really gives them the power. And going to any other event,
Yeah. There's also, so we're very intentional in creating that welcoming space. Like Ginny said, we go around. If you're comfortable, share your gendered pronouns, because one of the sort of tenets that we're working with here is nonviolence, and misgendering someone or whatever is a form of like spiritual and emotional violence that we just don't abide by. And so we're intentional with that space, and that's very empowering to be able to share that part of yourself with other people who love you already, But on the practical end, it's just like, you go into an open shop night, and the role of the facilitator is not to fix your bike for you, but they'll literally put the tools in your hand and be like, okay, turn that screw, and this is how you break a chain, and this is how you, change out a tube. And I've had experiences with the people who facilitate at Grease Rag are just phenomenal. And I've had experiences where I've been getting frustrated, and the facilitator will just stand there very patiently and just you can do this. You can do it. Being able to sort of demystify your bike, because bikes aren't rocket science. They're not. Certainly, and the people who work on them, that's a skilled labor. But the stuff that you do at home, I need to change my tire, I need to replace my chain, whatever, that you can do. And so learning how to do that is you understand your bike, and it makes you less afraid to ride it, and less afraid to use it, and less afraid to take it into these spaces. And that's empowering. I mean, I kind of slapped together a kind of beater winter bike, in a couple hours on Sunday, because of having gone to these Grease Rag open shop nights and learned from them. A year ago, I could barely change a tube. So, yeah. Brenda?
Yeah, I would just like to add to that feeling of empowerment from an open shop night. I changed out my shifters, and I had never touched anything on a bike before other than my feet to the pedals, basically. And I literally said the words afterwards with a little tear streaming down my face. I feel so empowered.
Yay!
And it sparked something inside of me. And I have this passion for bikes now, and I'm so stoked on it. And I never would have had that or felt that without the complete inclusiveness and awesomeness of Grease Rag.
Ding! Yay! Oh, that makes my heart feel so good.
I feel like there's a little bit of passion. Grease Rag.
A little bit.
All right, y'all. You've been listening to a small excerpt of Trans Atheist Podcast from Maddie 11, Minnesota, and she is a part of The Queer Life. If you'd like to check out more of that, it is on thequeerlife.org, and you can check out all of her episodes on there. Those are made available. It's also on iTunes as well. Before I forget, the Queer Life radio show has partnered up with Planet Transgender to provide news sources and original articles from their news team. And so some of what you hear today may be coming from Planet Transgender, not because we only want to promote Planet Transgender, but because they just happen to write really good stuff. We were just using their articles anyway.
Yeah, we just were randomly picking out a lot of their stuff to talk about because
Yeah.
they had really current, up-to-date, relevant stuff to tell news stories on and report on. And so we were just randomly picking their stuff out without really even realizing that we were using their website over and over again as a source.
Yeah.
And then they kind of what was it? Did they contact us or did you contact them?
No, Kelly, the editor, she contacted us through the website.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
So it's the Queer Life has sort of just like been a year in the making, and we started airing in August, and it's
And we're slowly starting to grow. I mean, the Queer Life family is growing, so
pretty incredible stuff.
Mhm.
And all thanks to KBBF, which has supported us every step of the way. Thank you, KBBF. And like I said, please support KBBF. Go to kbbf-fm.org. Hit the donation link. $5, $1. Just don't
$1,000.
$1,000.
Whatever makes you happy.
Yeah, if you donate $1,000, the Queer Life will Kaya, this host, will tell you a secret.
Super secret.
Super secret. Shifty eyes. All right, back to serious stuff here. I mean, this has all been serious, but so we've been talking about the resources that are available for you if you are experiencing crisis. There's a trans lifeline in San Francisco. There's crisis lines. If you're just experiencing any sort of crisis, whether you're trans, straight, or queer, anything like that. And we've said this before and we will say it again. If you're in an environment that is not safe for you, do what you need to do to be safe. We want to encourage everybody to be the way that they want to be as much as possible. But if it is not safe for you to come out as trans or gay or queer in your home,
don't.
Yeah. We're not saying deny who you are, but if it threatens your life, if it threatens your well-being, and it's a situation that you cannot get away from, do what you need to do to be safe.
But if you do end up coming out in those situations, there are resources out there for you.
Yes.
There are places you can seek information, places you can seek help.
And so, that's this is really hard for us to do, because just the idea of you needing to be yourself, you coming out as being your authentic true self. We want to support you, but at the same time we have such trepidation with recommending that you do anything that's going to put your life in danger. So we are going to play an example of a young man coming out as gay to his family, and it not going well. And again, the reason why we're playing this is not to depress you, not to cry, like give us attention or anything like that, but just to make you aware that there is a struggle in the queer community, not only in just being human, but like in the queer community, and coming out is not easy for us. And so,
and we have played this before, but it's we're doing it again because it's relevant to what we're talking about tonight, and leading us into talking about Leelah.
Yes. So without much further ado, I'm going to play the audio of this young man coming out to his family as gay, and it is censored. There was quite a bit of not radio appropriate language in there, And to be honest, it was really hard to go just listen to it over and over again, and listen to the swearing and whatnot. So, in some ways, the censoring seems like harsher too.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. But all right, here it is. We're gonna go silent for a second. If you have any questions for us at any points during this, feel free to give us a call 707-545-0318 or tweet us at The Queer Life. And so check it out. So here is the coming out audio that was secretly recorded and made available on the internet. So here it is.
Daniel, I want to tell you before I say anything else that I love you. Now, I know that you're not going to believe that, but it is true.
Oh, I believe it.
So, and I have known that you were gay since you were a tiny little boy.
Mm-hmm. So you would know at this point it's not a choice.
And you have made a choice,
I have not made a
evidently
choice.
from what you told your daddy.
I have not made a choice. I have not made a choice. I have been from the moment I come out of my mother's uterus. I have been that way. Probably long before I come out of her uterus. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Now, you can deny it all you want to, but I believe in the Word of God, and God creates nobody that way. It's a path that you have chosen to choose.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you believe it the way you want to believe it, because I cannot change that.
This is the way I'll put that part. I have taken basic biology and psychology, and it's determined within the first 6 weeks of birth what your personality is going to be, and that's part of your personality, and you cannot change it, and it's a scientific proof, not based off of
You go by all the scientific stuff you want to. I'm going by the Word of God.
Well, scientific proof trumps the Word of God.
No, it doesn't, in my opinion.
Well, in my opinion, it does, because there's scientific proof. That's
Well,
why it's
all
called
right,
scientific proof.
Okay, I'm not going to argue that point with you, but I'm going to tell you that you have chosen that path. We will not support you any longer. You will need to move out and find wherever you can to live and do what you want to, because I will not let people believe that I condone what you do.
Okay. Well, I will be out by Thursday night at midnight. How about that?
All right.
I'll be completely out, and you'll never, ever have to see me again.
If that's the way you choose it, that's fine.
No, that's not what I'm choosing. I'm doing what you're telling me to do, and you're disowning me. So that proves how much of a person you are. In fact, can I live in your basement since it's your house and you're my mother? Really? So all of that support that you told me about?
Oh, I support you. I don't support what you do.
And we don't
because I
support your
believe in
habit.
what you do.
No.
And I have a lot of friends that are gay, but they're friends.
See,
They're not related to me.
that's not what you told me that day on the couch. That doesn't seem very motherly to me.
And disowning your dad and telling him that he's a racist and that your dad didn't raise you. Your dad's gone to bat for you for the last 20 years of your life. That man's put a roof over your head. He's put food on your table.
That's not raising.
You
Wait a minute.
None of these people have raised you. You're full of and you told me on the phone that you made that choice. You know you wasn't born that way. You know good and well you made that choice. You know that this man has done everything he can to raise you, and you told me right on that phone that that was a choice you made. He didn't need to blame himself. So don't fill these people full of Daniel.
You're twisting my words. You are
twist everybody.
You are a completely different person.
Let me tell you something, you little bitch.
No, you're not gonna at me.
No.
You son of a off me. Get off me. Let me tell you something. I'm gonna
Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. Stop it.
get off of me. What's wrong with you?
Get queer.
What's wrong with you?
You don't tell lies on me, you little piece of
I didn't. I trusted you.
You've never trusted me. You
just
with me than anybody.
Come here.
I'll beat your
Claim you as my own mother.
Listen. Check this out.
What is wrong with you people?
Oh, what's wrong with you?
No, what is wrong with you people?
What's wrong with you?
No.
Run your mouth on Facebook about me. I've done everything in the world. Everything in the world for you.
I haven't run my mouth about
you haven't.
What if
Tell me.
What if I
you right
said? Go get it.
You get
show me. Pull it up on Facebook and you show me.
I don't have you on Facebook.
Well, go get her.
You're a disgrace.
I'm not a disgrace.
Yeah, you are.
No, you're not. No, I am not.
Unfortunately, I'm sorry to say that you are. So did
All right, everybody. Sorry, we have to play stuff like that for you on here. I know this is probably not what you're expecting to listen to on your Friday nights. Probably drive home or drive on out. This is reality.
I think each time I've had to listen to that, and we've had to listen to it a few times since when we played it on the air, it literally gets harder to listen to. I mean, it's the absolute wrong way to go about, treating your family member who comes out to you. I mean, even if you have religious objections, even if you don't yet support it, you don't yet understand it, telling them that you want them out of your home, you want them out of your life, that's wrong. It doesn't matter who you are and who you worship. That's completely wrong. And I was raised Roman Catholic, and I've read the Bible, and I've read the teachings of Jesus Christ, and I would have to believe he's he would not react that way to somebody coming out to him. That he at the very least would embrace them and love them and take care of them and care for them, right? Not turn around and disown them and never speak to them again. I mean, it's kind of horrible. And this is the kind of treatment that leads to suicide, sadly.
The LGBT suicide rate for anybody who's just gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender, queer, just in general, it's 1 in 5 queer identified people will have attempted suicide. And that's, in a day and age where this is supposed to be accepted, where, most of us can, nearly, I guarantee you, nearly every single one of our listeners out there has a friend or a family member who is gay.
And probably somebody even in your life, or somebody that you had in your life that was trans, because even though it doesn't seem like there are as many trans individuals, more and more people are coming out, and sadly they're coming out into a world, whether you're gay, lesbian, bisexual, asexual, transgender, you're coming out into a world in which people still do not understand what you're about. They don't understand how to talk to you. They don't understand how to relate to you. They don't understand why we're doing what we're doing. And they want to believe that it's some kind of a choice that they can help fix, and to be honest, who would want to be part of that community knowing the kind of torture you're going to go through and the kind of torture you're going to put yourself through? Why would you choose that? You wouldn't choose that. I mean, we're very proud to be who we are. I'm a very proud trans woman. But would I have chosen to be what I am? Probably not. Knowing how much I've had to suffer, right? It's ridiculous.
Nobody chooses to be discriminated against. Nobody chooses to want to be. We most of us come to learn to accept and become proud.
Well, we don't even choose to be different.
Yeah.
We are different,
Yeah.
but we don't choose to be. And it takes so long for us to even come to terms with that for ourselves that by the time we do, we're very proud of who we are and what we represent. And we represent diversity in sexual orientation and diversity in gender identities and gender expression,
Yeah. I noticed at one point during that little audio segment that we played, that I just to like hold back myself from like crying about it. Like I found myself just like laughing because it was so horrible.
Yeah.
Like,
well, I remember the last time
Yeah.
the last time we played that several
Yeah.
months ago.
Yeah.
I believe when we came back, we were both kind of sniffing and sobbing a little bit. So it was
Yeah.
kind of hard, it's super hard to listen to. And, I'm able to deal with it a little better now, but it still hurts me just as much.
I hear it, and it just like part of my mind is just so blown away by how terrible it is. But it goes even further. It doesn't sound real.
Yeah, it sounds made up or fake. And what I would love to point out is that not every family reacts that way when somebody comes out. However, there are families that we know that react much worse even. So as bad as that was, there are children out there, teenagers out there, sons and daughters out there who are treated to much worse treatment from their family, and they're exposed to such hatred from the people who raised them and who loved them their whole life.
Right.
And then these people turn their backs on them in an instant.
And that's the least of it.
Yeah, that's the least of it. I mean, there's violence. There's, people who've, committed heinous acts against their own family for these very reasons. From all over the world. This happens all over the world, not just the United States, but no matter where you go.
Yeah, in witnessing a lot of different stories from different queer people, I've heard people being thrown down flights of stairs by their parents, being beaten, either single offense or multiple.
Well, we reported on a young child.
Oh God!
Remember?
Yeah.
A while ago, who was beaten to death because the little boy wanted to play with dolls, right? And the father thought to himself that he doesn't want a gay son or a girly son, so he's going to beat it out of him. And he beat it out of him so much he ended up killing the child.
Oh my gosh!
I mean, so it's not even that they do this to young adults who come out. They do it to children. They do it to babies. It's kind of ridiculous.
This is heavy.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna have to go to hear some words from our sponsors here. If you're just tuning in now, you are listening to the Queer Life Radio Show, LGBT news, modern perspectives, roundtable discussions, and interviews. I am your host, Kaya Kramer. I'm joined, as always, with my co-host, Mandy Howards. You're listening to KBBF 89.1 FM. Just stay tuned. We are covering Leelah Alcorn suicide, and kind of covering the subject from around there. All right, stay tuned. We're going to be reading a little bit more on that right after the break.
Estás escuchando KBBF 89.1 FM, Calistoga, Santa Rosa, la voz de tu comunidad.
La visión de KBBF es crear una voz multilingüe y fuerte que le dé poder e involucre a toda la comunidad para lograr su justicia social a través de la educación, la celebración de cultura y la provisión de noticias locales e internacionales. KBBF's vision is to create a strong multilingual voice that empowers and engages the community to achieve social justice through education, celebration of culture, and local and international news coverage.
La lectura es una habilidad indispensable para el desarrollo del lenguaje y el éxito académico de sus hijos. Ayúdelos a adoptar ese hábito desde una edad temprana. Con libros de cuentos ilustrados, vea que sus hijos aprendan a decir los nombres de animales y otras cosas para ayudarlos a incrementar su vocabulario. Recuerde que usted como padre o madre es el primer maestro de sus hijos. Comience exponiéndolos a la lectura. Mensaje de la Universidad de California.
Estás escuchando el 89.1 FM, Calistoga, Santa Rosa, la voz de tu comunidad.
Comunícate con nosotros, danos tu opinión. Teléfono en cabina 707-545-0318.
All right, hello everybody. You are listening to the Queer Life Radio Show, LGBT news, modern perspectives, roundtable discussions, and interviews. I am your host, Kaya Kramer, and I'm joined with my co-host, Mandy Howards.
As always,
Yes.
super happy to be here. Wow.
And we are covering the theme for the show, and the show's dedication is to Leelah Alcorn from Ohio.
And I just want to say that I hope the listeners didn't believe we were going to talk about Leelah exclusively for 2 hours straight. I mean, there's a lot going on with her story, but we kind of wanted to touch on subjects that lead up to that and to lead up to what happened to her.
Yeah, because unfortunately, she is one of many deaths.
Yeah.
For many reasons too, within the queer community, and particularly the trans community. So, and again, if any of y'all have questions for us at any point during this broadcast, you can give us a call, 707-545-0318. If you want to be more discreet, you can go to the website, thequeerlife.org/contact. You can actually, go there and shoot us an email. If you want to watch this episode, it's streaming live right now, and all subsequent episodes will be streamed live too. So subscribe, upvote, dig, Reddit, blah, 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 all that stuff. So we just played the audio of the young man coming out to his parents.
Yeah, and already, even before that, we touched a little bit upon the issues that LGBT youths and just anybody face in coming out and living full, authentic lives. And of course, that leads into playing the audio that we just heard and having sadly a real life example of how badly that it can go and how hard that is to listen to for anyone who has a caring heart. And of course, that's going to lead into you, Kaya, reading Leelah's note, which I would suggest, if you don't mind, that we should do that first, and that way we can discuss everything else that happens because of that and after that, if you want.
Yeah, no, that's way to
rather than I mean, either that or we can end with it, but I think if we get it out of the way now, we can kind of discuss it a little bit.
Okay, I'm gonna do so. And Mandy just told me before we started the broadcast that this note was actually taken down.
Yeah.
From the internet by the parents, by her parents.
Or we're assuming by the parents, because they're pretty much the only ones who would probably have the access or ability to take it down.
And they've been disapproving.
Yeah, they've been incredibly disapproving, and they continue to gender her and refer to her as a male.
Okay. So I'm going to be reading Leelah Alcorn's suicide notes on that was originally posted on Facebook, and it was scheduled to post after her suicide.
Yeah, so basically she had set it up to post, which is something that you do often with Facebook. A lot of people maybe not aware that you can do that.
Yes.
You can set a post up to post automatically at a specific date and time. And I guess her plan was that if she decided not to go through with it, she would get back in time to cancel the post.
Right.
Which she did not. So
okay, I'm gonna read the post here. If you're reading this, it means that I have committed suicide and obviously failed to delete this post from my queue. Please don't be sad. It's for the better. The life I would have lived isn't worth living in because I'm transgender. I could go into detail explaining why I feel that way, but this note is probably going to be lengthy enough as it is. To put it simply, I feel like a girl trapped in a boy's body. I've felt that way ever since I was 4. I never knew there was a word for that feeling, nor was it possible for a boy to become a girl. So I never told anybody, and I just continued to do traditionally boyish things to try to fit in. When I was 14, I learned what transgender meant, and I cried of happiness. After 10 years of confusion, I finally understood who I was. I immediately told my mom, and she reacted extremely negatively, telling me that it was a phase, and that I would never truly be a girl, and that God doesn't make mistakes, that I am wrong. If you're reading this, parents, please don't tell this to your kids. Even if you're a Christian or are against transgender people, don't ever say that to someone, especially your kid. That won't do anything to make them hate themselves. That's exactly what it did to me. My mom started taking me to a therapist, but would only take me to Christian therapists. We're all very biased. So I never actually got the therapy I needed to cure me of my depression. I only got one Christians telling me that I was selfish, wrong, and that I should look to God for help. When I was 16, I realized my parents would never come around, and that I would have to wait until I was 18 to start any sort of transition treatment, which absolutely broke my heart. The longer you wait, the harder it is to transition. I felt hopeless that I was just going to look like a man in drag for the rest of my life. On my 16th birthday, when I didn't receive consent from my parents to start transitioning, I cried myself to sleep. I formed a sort of F-you attitude towards my parents and came out as gay at school, and think that maybe if I eased into coming out as trans, it would be less of a shock. Although the reaction from my friends was positive, my parents were pissed. They felt like I was attacking their image, and that I was an embarrassment to them. They wanted me to be their perfect little straight Christian boy, and that's obviously not what I wanted. So they took me out of public school, took away my laptop and phone, and forbid me of getting on any sort of social media, completely isolating me from my friends. This was probably the part of my life when I was the most depressed, and I'm surprised I didn't kill myself. I was completely alone for 5 months. No friends, no support, no love, just my parents' disappointment and the cruelty of loneliness. At the end of the school year, my parents finally came around and gave me my phone and let me back on social media. I was excited I finally had my friends back. They were extremely excited to see me and talk to me, but only at first. Eventually, they realized they didn't actually give a crap about me, and I felt even lonelier than I did before. The only friends I thought I had only liked me because they saw me 5 times a week. After a summer of having almost no friends, plus the weight of having to think about college, save money for moving out, keep my grades up, go to church each week, and feel like crap because everyone there is against everything I live for, I have decided I've had enough. I'm never going to transition successfully, even when I move out. I'm never going to be happy with the way I look or sound. I'm never going to have enough friends to satisfy me. I'm never going to have enough love to satisfy me. I'm never going to find a man who loves me. I'm never going to be happy. Either I live the rest of my life as a lonely man who wishes he were a woman, or I live my life as a lonelier woman who hates herself. There's no winning. There's no way out. I'm sad enough already. I don't need my life to get any worse. People say it gets better, but that isn't true in my case. It gets worse. Each day I get worse. That's the gist of it. That's why I feel like killing myself. Sorry if that's not a good enough reason for you. It's good enough for me. As for my will, I want 100% of the things that I legally own to be sold and the money, plus my money in the bank, to be given to trans civil rights movements and support groups. I don't give a crap which one. The only way I will rest in peace is if one day transgender people aren't treated the way I was. They're treated like humans with valid feelings and human rights. Gender needs to be taught about in schools. The earlier, the better. My death needs to mean something. My death needs to be counted in the number of transgender people who commit suicide this year. I want someone to look at that number and say, that's screwed up. Fix it. Fix society, please. Goodbye, Leelah Alcorn.
Wow. Thank you, Kaya, for reading that. First, I just want to really say that it absolutely breaks my heart to hear that entire thing, because I'm pretty sure just about every trans woman and even every trans man out there has probably said most of those, if not all of those things to themselves. All those nevers, never going to be happy, never going to look like a woman, never going to do this, never going to do that, never going to find love. Those are things that I told myself. Those are things that you've told yourself and probably still do in some way, shape, or form. But as to the idea that it never gets better, I would say it gets better somewhat, right? I'm not going to sugarcoat it and say it becomes amazing and awesome and everybody loves you, because that's not the truth either. The truth is that it gets better because you learn to accept who you are regardless of how others believe in you and how they perceive you to be. And while that's not preferable to true love and true acceptance, it's all we have right now. It's, until we educate, until we get out there and speak to more and more people, this type of thing is going to be incredibly common. Because, how old were you, if you don't mind saying, when you came out?
I was 20.
You were 20. I was what? 30.
Yeah.
So, and I've been out for a while now, and you've been out for a while now, and I can say it's better, but not great.
Yeah.
And to hear that somebody so young who's just starting out, and obviously she was coming out in a situation that was just kind of unbearable from every angle that she was being hit at. And that is incredibly hard to deal with for a young child, essentially a teenager. It's hard enough for an adult to deal with. And a lot of adults succumb to that kind of pressure as well. It's not just younger trans kids and trans teenagers. And we've even known a few teenagers, or at least one specifically in our area, who committed suicide, who was around the same age as Leelah. And we've even talked about, I think on this show, we've already read, that's our second suicide note that we've read on the show.
That's right, yeah.
I don't recall the girl's name, but maybe we can look it up at the break and talk and mention her as well. There's another trans woman that we talked about a few months ago who had committed suicide by using a shotgun. I don't know if you remember that, but yeah. So, and obviously in Leelah's case, you know, she was, I mean, it's just, I don't know, it's just really hard to talk about, really heartbreaking because, you know, as we've come to find out in the media since this has kind of blown up, is that her family has continued to refer to her as a boy using her given male name. They've continued to deny any responsibility for her suicide. In fact, when it first happened, they almost hinted at the idea that it wasn't a suicide, it was just more of an accident, that she fell in front of a truck. They've since then admitted that it was suicide, but they're still dodging or attempting to dodge blame of any kind. And not that they're 100% at fault for what happened to her, but I would place most of the blame on their shoulders, because the one place in your life that you're supposed to feel safe, that you're supposed to feel loved, is at home, right? So
I'm still recovering a little bit from reading that. I want to make a shout out there. If anybody's just tuning in right now, you are listening to the Queer Life Radio Show. And we just read Leelah Alcorn's suicide letter.
Mhm.
And if there's any of you out there that have anything to say about this, or want to share your opinion, we're going to open up the lines. 707-545-0318. That number again, 707-545-0318. And we'd love to hear from some parents too.
Yeah. Or anybody that just wants to say something.
Yeah. So,
and I would like to say that if you do call in, please keep it positive. We invite people who have differing opinions. But if you have a differing opinion, then we don't want to hear from you right now.
Yeah, it's
maybe next week, but not right now.
Because at the moment we want to honor Leelah Alcorn and share her story, share who she was, who she actually was, not what her parents were saying who she was, not who her school district was saying who she was, not what her headstone,
Well, speaking of her school district, they had held an assembly or a game or something in honor of her. However, the person they were honoring was her male, as a male. They were honoring her as a boy, as a male, using her male name, male pronouns at her own school, which I find incomprehensible. I mean, it's ridiculous. The fact that they would even do that is just kind of, they should be shamed completely. I'll get that.
Yeah. I mean, in California, actually, it is illegal to disrespect somebody for their gender identity after their death. And it's called the Respect After Death Act, which was pushed through the law by the Transgender Law Center in San Francisco. They're a volunteer organization that is doing some work here. So we got a call here. I'm gonna play a little music and we're gonna connect real back in just one moment here. Okay, we have a guest caller. Paulina, you are on the air.
Hi, Kaya. Hi, Mandy.
Hey. Hey there. Good to hear from you. Probably not best of most positive times, but thank you for calling in. You've been listening to the show?
Yes, I've been watching it since it started, and yeah, it's so hard hearing that letter, because the last time I read something or heard something like that was probably from a suicide letter that I wrote when I was 14 or 15 years old, and I remember going through those kind of struggles too. And luckily, I didn't go through with it. Luckily, I'm still here, and it's very sad that we still see some of us in our community that we're still losing people in our community. And the hardest thing to think about was in 2014, last year, that it seemed like last year would have been like the most triumphant year for us. It's like how many, from all the laws that got passed that protect us, and all the role models that started to come out into the world, and for us to sort of leave 2014 on the sad note of the passing of our sister Leelah, and it's very hard to think like that right now.
Yeah.
As far as trans role models go, Paulina is the founder and moderator for Trans Role Models, which is a Facebook group that has thousands and thousands of trans people making change in their communities. And so we had Paulina on a previous episode. You can check out her interview on thequeerlife.org. But so...
Yeah, lately, all the news that's been coming on, all the posts that's been on trans role models have all been about Leelah Alcorn and the various blog posts from everybody, like Leslie Kane and others, talking about Leelah. And it's so overwhelming to see like how much of our community is out there really paying attention. And I really hope that Leah's death doesn't go in vain, that we actually start doing more for trans youth and making sure that, like, we do help them out if they're in a situation where their family's no longer loving them and supporting them because of who they are, that we help them out and like extend our hand to them and make sure that they're at a place that is safe and that they know that, things will be great for them as they get older,
If seeing as how you've been there before, and sort of looked on, stood on the edge of the abyss and looked into the darkness there, if you could say anything to any of our listeners out there who might be feeling that themselves. I mean, the holidays are a hard time, and what would you say to somebody who's experiencing this kind of grief, this kind of sadness in their life?
Just please try to be strong, try to hang in there. This is just like a rough patch that's gonna go on just for a little bit, but always know that there are resources out there. There are people that are ready to help you out in any way you can, and like call the Trans Lifeline, the one that Greta in Oakland put together. They're very great people to talk to, but continue to reach out and try to come find people that brings positivity into your life, and know that the entire trans community in general does love you.
Yeah, and Mandy was saying just earlier here, it's like, while it doesn't become like super sparkly, amazing, and things aren't, but things do get better. And
they do get better, but it's probably not going to be what you really want it to be.
Yeah.
But you have to learn to make what you have and what you're able to make, and make that the best that it can be. I mean, it may not be what you imagine in your head as being the ultimate situation or the ultimate form of acceptance, but you have to do with what you can and continuously try to improve what you can.
Correct.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a result of the world we live in. And again, I'm hearing a lot of voices and retorts back in my mind from people saying, just get over it. Paulina, what would you say to somebody who just said to you, if you're, confiding in them and telling them about some of the challenges you have as a trans woman, if they said, just, you do you, get over it, what would be your response?
I'll be like, who are you to tell me to get over it? It's not something that you get over,
Mm-hmm.
And I've been there before. It's like, even when it came to the passing of Ron Williams, about his whole life struggling with depression, is like, depression is not something that you get over with. It's like, you go through like a lot of bad stuff, and a lot of those stuff does leave mental scars, and even stuff like child abuse you just don't get over it. It takes a lot longer to get over it than probably the 2 or 3 years that you've gone through with it. So if someone just told me get over it, I would tell them, like, just put yourself in my shoes. Tell me what you would think of your life if you've gone through those same kind of stuff. It's not something that you get over easy. Like, it takes like a lot of time and a lot of therapy to get over.
Well, yeah. When people tell you to get over it, or just you do you, they discount the fact that you've probably already suffered with what you've been suffering for a long, long time. So it's obviously not as simple just to get over it. They're only saying what you're going through right now. They don't know your history. They don't know what you've been through.
No.
It would be like telling somebody who's a victim of rape just to get over it. I mean, it's a complete,
or that they asked for it.
Yeah, or that they asked for it. And let me point out that rape is a completely different issue to being trans, and I'm not trying to compare the two, but what I am making a comparison to is the idea that people who go through traumatic events in their lives, whether it be a woman who is raped, or a young trans woman growing up in a very masculine, macho environment, being forced day in and day out, over and over again, to be a boy, to be a man, to be strong, and to be everything that goes against who they are. And they're denying that their entire life. That's traumatic. I mean, it really is.
Hey, we're going to have to take a break here to play some words from our sponsors here. Paulina, do you want to join us for the rest of the conversation, or did you say what you wanted to say?
I pretty much said what I want to say. So I just want to wish you all a happy new year, and let's continue to fight.
Happy New Year, Paulina. Thank you so much, and all that you are doing in the community and making more leaders and role models out there.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for continuing doing the Queer Life. It's such an awesome radio show, and I'm just so proud of this show.
Oh, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We love
Bye.
Paulina.
All right. We love you, Paulina. Bye.
Love you too.
Bye.
Okay, so I just want to say that I love Paulina. She's great.
She's amazing.
She's really killing it out there, and she's creating more leaders.
Mm-hmm.
And we can prevent more deaths. Okay, I'm not gonna get into that yet. I'm gonna play these words from our sponsors.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. We will be back. If you're just tuning in right now, you are listening to the Queer Life Radio Show, LGBT news, modern perspectives, roundtable discussions, and interviews. I am your host, Kaya Kramer. I'm joined with my co-host, Mandy Howards. Keep on listening.
KBBF 89.1, contigo, ayer, hoy y siempre.
¿Tienes un carro que ya no usas o ya no lo manejas? El apoyo para KBBF viene de usted. Querido Radio Escucha, una gran manera de apoyar a KBBF es mediante la donación de su carro no deseado. Nosotros arreglamos recoger el carro sin ningún costo alguno. Para obtener más información, llame al 877-411-3662 o visita el sitio web kbbf-fm.org.
Support for KBBF comes from you, the listener. A great way to support community radio KBBF is by donating your unwanted car. We'll arrange for it to be picked up at no cost to you. To learn more, call 877-411-3662 or go online to kbbf-fm.org.
Los mercados de granjeros ofrecen varias ventajas sobre los supermercados convencionales. Brindan frutas y verduras frescas usualmente cultivadas cerca de donde usted vive. Le permiten probarlas antes de comprarlas y usted puede preguntar cómo puede prepararlas en casa. Aproveche los mercados de granjeros en su localidad y ayúdelos a que sigan ofreciendo una mayor variedad de alimentos. Vaya tempranito para poder seleccionar mejor sus frutas y verduras frescas y al mejor precio. Mensaje de la Universidad de California.
Las expresiones y comentarios no representan la ideología de KBBF ni la mesa directiva, sino que es la responsabilidad de sus actores.
Okay, hello everybody. You're listening to the Queer Life radio show, LGBT news, modern perspectives, roundtable discussions, and interviews. I'm your host, Kaya Kramer, with my co-host, Mandy Howard.
As always.
As always. And this episode is dedicated to Leelah Alcorn from Ohio.
I don't know if we're pronouncing it quite right.
Yeah.
Leelah or Layla? I'm not sure.
Yeah,
I was just thinking Leelah from Futurama.
Yeah.
No, I love Leelah.
Exactly.
And we love Leelah Alcorn. So.
Yes. Just read her suicide notes to bring awareness that there's a struggle going on, and it's not because
we're not trying to sensationalize it.
Yeah.
We're not trying to promote more suicide.
No, and we show it and we share it because
because these type of things need to be shared, because people need to be aware. If anything, the suicide note, in reading it and having people look at it, is more for the non-trans people out there. You know, the trans individuals listening to that, reading it, they know those feelings already. They've thought those feelings already. They've written those feelings down on pieces of paper. The note in sharing it with everybody is for the people who have not had those feelings, have not had those experiences, to let them know that what transgender individuals go through is real and it hurts, and that we need to be supported, that each trans woman and trans man needs to be supported. Each gay man and lesbian woman needs to be supported. You know, everybody in the queer community needs that love and support from, especially from family. And that's why reading these notes are important, because we're sharing those deep, kind of deep-seated thoughts with people who don't have those kind of thoughts, you know, to let them know that these things do happen and that it needs to be fixed. And that needs to be addressed. I don't know if you have the information up there with you, but they have the what do they call it? Change.org campaign.
Yes. Yeah.
to try to have the president address this issue. Do you have that up there?
Yeah, I do. On the queerlife.org for this current episode. You just click on the link there, and at the bottom there's a link to the petition to to basically make it illegal to do conversion therapy, reparative therapy. And
well, what I think they're trying to do right now is to get enough signatures, digital signatures, to force the president of the United States to make a formal response to this issue.
Yeah.
In other words, it doesn't mean that they're going to change the law, but at the very least, it means that it has to be addressed, and by the president. So
yeah, I got the link from Planet Transgender, and I quote, Leelah wasn't simply killed in an accident, but that it was a reaction from her family and the torment that they put her through that pushed her to step in front of that truck. Forced into isolation by being denied access to your friends, to social media, being made to go to Christian counselors that told her she was wrong and selfish, pushed her to do what she did. And so we absolutely advocate going to therapy. We truly, truly do. But conversion therapy, reparative therapy, telling you that being transgender is wrong, that being gay or queer is wrong, is only going to cause damage. And this is not my opinion. This is the opinions of the American Psychiatric Association. This is the opinions of
proper in specific to this case, proper transgender therapy. What does it look like? Well, it looks like support. It looks like having a therapist who's able to listen to what you have to say and not to deny your feelings and not to even try to change those feelings, but try to assist in making what you're going through a little bit easier, to smooth out your transition, so to speak. It shouldn't be their aim to cure you, but to make sure that you know what you're going through and that you're aware of the challenges and that you're supported throughout those challenges. That's good transgender therapy, right? I don't know if you have anything to add to that, but
no here, but it's a good segue into, I've got this article here from heavy.com, Leelah Alcorn, 5 fast facts you need to know. And so, correction to what my previous statement was, it wasn't posted on Facebook, it was posted on Tumblr.
Yeah.
And her Tumblr account has since gone down, but and she previously had been posting on YouTube, I believe. Although I can't confirm that.
We'll check on that.
Yeah. Number 2, after the suicide, her mother and school still referred to Alcorn as, I'm not going to say it, but her boy name.
No, we don't need to say that.
Yeah.
It's not important to the story. No.
So Doug and Carla Alcorn, Leelah Alcorn's parents, on her Facebook page, Alcorn's mother, Carla, wrote, "My sweet 16-year-old son," and then she mentions her boy name, "went home to heaven this morning. He was out for an early morning walk and was hit by a truck. Thank you for the messages and kindness and concern you have sent our way. Please continue to keep us in your prayers." And so her page makes no reference to the name Leelah wished to be called, or that her child had committed suicide.
No, and that's, I don't know, that's incredibly sad that even after an act such as this, that her family is still unwilling and unable to see the truth. And the truth is they had a daughter, whether they knew it or not, for her entire life until recent. They had a daughter. I mean, they've always had a daughter, and there's nothing can change that. They can deny it all they want, right? They can quote God in the Bible all they want, but the reality is that they never had a son, they had a daughter. And the rest of the world is going to continue to honor that. At least we're going to continue to honor that in our community.
Yeah.
And here on the Queer Life.
Absolutely. It says here that the community relations coordinator for the local school district, also referring to Leelah as a male, said, "Our thoughts and prayers are with his family and friends at this tragic time." An obituary tribute on the social websites referred to Leelah as a beloved son and brother.
Oh.
Local media in Ohio likewise have referred to Leelah almost exclusively as her boy name and as a male.
The one website that I do know of that is using her female name and female pronouns is actually Wikipedia. And I'm guessing mostly because that's, it's edited by the people who put the entries in the first place. So that's, for me, one positive thing right now in social media is that it is at least in one big outlet, Wikipedia, she's being referred to as a woman and not a man.
The change.org petition is to create something called Leelah's Law. Did we
Leelah's
mention
Law,
that?
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the petition itself, I don't, and I was looking it up just a second ago just to make sure that the information I gave was correct. And I'm not so sure if it's the change.org is the petition that the president has to address, or if that's another one. Because there is a petition website that if you get enough signatures that the president actually has to address. It doesn't have to approve it,
right?
But he has to speak on it. Change.org is always sending out petitions. I mean, constantly. They're always trying to do great things, and they were sending out amazing petitions that people should get behind. And regardless of who those petitions go to, if you get enough signatures, it's going to make an impact. It's going to get people to take notice of what you're trying to do. And so the change.org petition for, banning reparative therapy across the country is what they're asking for. Banning it outright because it does nothing but damage.
Number 4 on this list. Leelah told her sister, "Please don't be sad," and told her parents, "F you." And this was again on her Tumblr. And another post on her Tumblr titled "Sorry," which was also posted after her death. Alcorn wrote a tribute to her friends and family. To her younger sister, Amanda, she wrote, "You are going to have such a wonderful life. You're the most talented and pretty little girl I've ever met. I love you so much. Amanda, please don't be sad. I'm going to miss you so very much. I love you." To her other sister, Tiffany, she wrote, "We haven't talked much recently since we're both so busy, but I'm so happy you're my sister. You're so courageous and determined to achieve what you want. You can accomplish anything. I love you." To her brother, Justin, she wrote, "We've been jerks to each other a lot recently, but I really do love you. You get on my nerves almost all the time, but no matter what, a part of me will always love you. Sorry for picking on you so much when we were kids." And to her parents, she wrote, "F you. You can't just control other people like that. That's messed up." The post concluded with, "I don't really feel the need to apologize to anyone. Odds are you didn't give a crap about me, and if you do, you did something that made me feel like crap, and you don't deserve an apology. Also, anyone who says something like, 'I wish I got to know him better,' or 'I wish I treated him better,' gets a punch in the nose."
Well, going over that list of the people that she wanted to recognize, it makes me happy that she would at least recognize her siblings with love and compassion. Obviously, I don't know the situation that she had with them. I mean, that's never really been made clear. Obviously, we know the situation she had with her parents, and therefore the sentiment that she had toward them makes perfect sense, and I agree with it completely. And I send my love to her siblings, but revoke it for her parents because they don't deserve any of our love, you know. But the rest of her family does, at least the ones that she chose to reach out to and express her love. And about the only thing I would show any sadness for when it comes to her parents is the fact that they now have to miss out on seeing their beautiful daughter grow into a woman. That's the only thing I'm sad for them for, is because of their actions, because of their behavior, because of their beliefs, they ostracized their daughter. They demeaned her and made her feel worthless. And now they get to go through life without getting to see her grow up and become whoever she was meant to be. And to me, that's super sad. I mean, I want to start crying.
Yeah. And so before we close off this episode, I just want to address all parents out there. Leelah mentioned it in her notes. If you're a parent and you have a child who is queer, who is transgender, who's gay, who's bisexual, who's asexual, who's intersex,
bigender,
who's just a little weird, even
just different for whatever reason.
Love your child. Tell your child how much you love them. And if they tell you that they're queer, they tell you that they're different, don't hold it against them. Don't let it be something that will destroy your relationship with your child. Because a child needs their mama to love them. A child needs their dad to love them. And it's not hard to love your child.
It shouldn't be hard.
Shouldn't be, yeah.
It shouldn't be hard. And not only does a child need their mother and father, but that child, when they grow older, continues to need their mother and father. And you don't want to leave a lasting impression of a broken relationship and disownment and dishonor if you happen to have a child that does this, or even if your child outlives the parents. That's not the kind of legacy you want to leave behind. Never having known your daughter or your son or whoever your child is, never having known them as whom they identify. I mean, that's heartbreaking.
Every good parent wants their child to grow up to be happy and successful in their lives. And they aren't doing this. We don't come out as queer to cross you. We don't do it to make fun of your religion or your beliefs,
or to ruin your reputation with the community.
We don't do it to make you look bad.
No.
And as much as possible, we just want to be allowed to be who we are. And sorry, I'm a little emotional this episode here.
It's perfectly understandable. I think anyone listening will understand. So
yeah. Yeah. So like we've said in every previous episode.
Literally every episode, I think.
If you're a friend if you have a friend who's suffering, who's in crisis, and you're listening to this, share with them, what you've heard. Now, not for our own sakes, for promoting our radio show or anything, but to share the resource, to let them know that, like what we were saying earlier, that you are not alone. Message your friend, shoot him a text, give him a phone call, send them a Facebook message, tweet them, let them know that you care about them and you accept them just the way they
reach
are.
out.
Yeah.
Reach out. I mean, that's the most important thing, is to reach out to somebody who you know is in crisis. And maybe even reach out to their family if you know their family is having a hard time accepting what's going on. Reach out to the family as well.
Yeah. So,
and do you want to give the hotline again real quick?
Yeah, I'll give you the hotline for the crisis line. If you need this number, it's translifeline.org. We also have it on the Queer Life website, thequeerlife.org/help, or get help. It's at the top of the list there. Trans Lifeline is for the US. It's 877-565-8860. That's 877-565-8860. Call them and talk to somebody if you need help, or if you're having doubts. If you just need help in general, there's also other crisis lines as well. 1-800-273-8255, and that's in San Francisco. 1-800-273-8255. And they can talk to you if you're having doubts. There's even drug problems, or if you've been a victim of abuse, or physical or emotional. So we're going to be signing off here in just a moment. And do you have any last words, Andy?
Just to reiterate the message that we've been trying to do this whole episode, and as well as every episode, is just love and compassion and understanding and patience, because we know that as hard as it is for those of us in the queer community to come out, it is also equally hard for others out there to kind of understand us and accept us wholeheartedly right away. I mean, obviously there are those who can do it right away, but we would ask for those who are unable to do it right away to just have some patience and be willing to open up your heart and learn a little bit. So
yeah. And with that, I'm going to close the 22nd episode of the Queer Life Radio Show. This is the Queer Life Radio Show, LGBT news, modern perspectives, roundtable discussions, and interviews. I am your host, Kaya Kramer, with my co-host, Mandy Howards. We are on KBBF 89.1 FM in Santa Rosa. Thanks, y'all, for listening, and just spread love and compassion. Bye.